Hey Wastelanders, welcome back to The Last Ranger. And I wanted to do a follow-up of this knife. This is called the Real Steel Ventus. It's a slip joint. 2 days after that unboxing, I decided to open it up. Because you probably saw me, you probably heard me. I don't like screws on the presentation side with a pivot. It has a nice pivot on this side. So I was, what do you call it? My OCD didn't let me look at it that way. So I'm like, oh, I just need to take it apart. At least the pivot out and see if I can reverse it. So unfortunately, I took the pivot out and then it was under pressure and I really didn't realize that. I forgot that the knives are usually under pressure as in slip joints. The spring is applying tension to the knife. So anyway, I got the pivot screw out and that was fine. I saw that the D shape was on this side of the knife. It's not on this side. So I'm like, that's going to be hard to get this pivot to line up, the barrel to line up with this side. So I tried, and I didn't. At first, I just removed the blade. There's bronze washers on either side. And I just put the pivot through this way, and I very, very carefully was able to line it up, and then I was able to set the screw. So the screws can be flipped, but once you get all the blade in there and the phosphor-bronze screws, it's near impossible to line it up with this back spring under pressure. So I read my piece of paper. I'll put it up there on the screen. It says the Z, I think it's called the Z index, whatever it's showing on the screen. This screw is able to tighten and loosen the back spring. So it's I think it's called the ATS, automatic tensioning system, maybe, or whatever it says on there. I don't have it in front of me. So you basically put a number 8 in the screw. Then you could turn it either way, depending on what it was sitting at, and then you can loosen it up. Let me see if I loosened it. It's really, it's getting there. So it's probably about, let's see, that's about there. So it's probably sitting at maybe a 3 right now. Let me tighten this back up before the screw comes out. Let's see. All right, that's back about a 7. Let's back this off a little bit. I like it at about a 6. Yeah. Anyway, let's show you what I'm talking about on the screen. So I wrote it. I tried to draw it out. So there's an oval shape cut in the back spring. It's about there. It's about at where it curves. And there's another oval shape inside that. It's connected to the spring, or the screw. It's not connected to the spring. Forgive me. It's connected to the screw. There's a screw on the other side. This screw doesn't have anything to do with this shape. It's only controlled by this screw. Sorry, I didn't take any pictures when I took it apart. I was so mad. I'll go over that later. It has like a oval shape, and it goes this way or it goes that way, clockwise, counterclockwise, and it's tensioning the spring. And when you get it this way with an oval inside an oval, that's called the Z index, and that's not applying tension on either the top or bottom. So you can, in theory, take it apart and put it back together. I didn't know that at the time. I read that afterwards when I had trouble getting it back together. I tried to get it back together with just the pivot, and I was having no luck. So I went to like, okay, so if you read in the paperwork, it says Z index allows you to disassemble and reassemble the knife, but they fail to note this screw, and this screw is under red Loctite, and a red Loctite is called a permanent Loctite. You have to heat the screws up to, like, I don't know, over 500 degrees, maybe over 1,000 degrees. I can't remember, to melt the red Loctite. So I usually, when I take apart knives that are under red Loctite, I used to use my stove, and it really kind of worked. But this wasn't working. I could not free this or this or this screw until I went out. Well, I ordered a soldering iron, and I was able to get the screws hot enough without burning myself to loosen up. And it took a while. It took like 3 times the heating up, just prying it a little bit. I don't want to strip the screws, so I would just go a little tiny bit. And finally, I got them all out. I didn't take this one out because I didn't think it wasn't coming out for some reason. So, and I didn't know that was hooked, connected to that oval. Anyway, so I got it apart, and I found all this red Loctite. It was melted all over. And anyway, I got it back together. I still couldn't manage to get the screw flipped, even though I was not under tension anymore. I still couldn't line it up. I was being frustrated. So I'm like, oh, it's the easiest if I just back the screw in the way it came. If they put in instructions that you could adjust this tension bar to the Z index and you could disassemble and reassemble a knife, they should have took that out, because if they're going to permanently freeze these screws, why bother to put the Z index in there anyway? So other than that, it's a good knife. I really like this knife. I think this is a long-winded say to complain about the knife, but other than this, I having a problem with this reassembly, it's a really nice knife. Take care, Wastelanders.
I like the death.